Dear crypto and trading friends, I wish you a wonderful Sunday morning with a new all-time high for Bitcoin. At one point, we were at around $125,700 for Bitcoin. That was the last peak, which means the all-time high was broken. Very nice to see. Our position, which was still open, has also reached its target zone. That was up here at $124,644. At $124,400 I closed my positions a bit earlier. That was right here. Here I was able to pocket some profits on Bitget with the long trades we had open here. And I did the same on Bitunix, as you can see. I closed there as well. I noticed the entire position wasn't closed, so I closed the second part now and was able to pocket profits there too. Otherwise, all trades are still profitable. Ethereum is currently having a really hard time breaking above this high here, this peak. I mentioned in the last video that I'm speculating on that. We'll see if that works out. So that we might get a rejection here, go further down and then rise again. Let's see how far we fall, if we do fall. But if Ethereum now manages to break out here, let's assume Bitcoin is leading the way, since Bitcoin is at a new all-time high and is rising much more than the various altcoins. And I would simply keep adjusting the Fibonacci step by step to look for my new entries later on in case of a correction. And guys, I know you don't want to hear this, but in my opinion, we are going to see a correction. Of course, everyone can decide for themselves. At this point, on a 6-month basis, we don't have much liquidity left above us. What could happen now is a new all-time high so that we simply forego the liquidity above us and the market just keeps pumping. What else could support this, that a massive amount of new shorts are coming in right now? We can take a look at the one-day chart to see what might be coming in fresh now, or also on the 12-hour chart. And that these get liquidated again and again, little by little. We are seeing brand new strong short volume coming in right now. Let's take a look at the 12-hour chart. It probably won't look any different here either, as people are now gradually trying to short. We can also see here that up to $128,000 people have set their stop losses or their liquidation price at that level, which again suggests that new highly leveraged positions are coming in. Here too, this high, as you can see, consists of very highly leveraged positions that have their liquidation here. And I could imagine that we might continue to rise gradually. Let's go back again. And exactly, reach these next target levels here, 125, 128, or 130,000 US dollars. Not only did I close my short position here, but I mentioned it in the last video, I sold another portion of my Bitcoins at 124,400 US dollars. My average selling price is now at 119,667 US dollars. New limit orders are only set again at 107,000 US dollars. And I really do this based on the liquidation map. I know guys, a lot of people don't want to hear this. But I don't just want to be bullish, and now I'm also going to, since I have some long crit trading bots open here, also future DCA, though unfortunately we don't have those here. But I'm going to connect those now, and I'll also set up a new Bitcoin short crit trading bot in this video. But not just one, I'm going to do it in stages. If we really continue to rise, which I definitely see as a strong possibility due to the target levels, or maybe even just because new liquidations are coming in here and are gradually being kicked out, I will keep opening a few short credit trading bots again and again, and that's really only because of the liquidation heat map, where we can see that by now, and it's really not a small amount, I mentioned it in the last video, there are 16 billion below us folks, 16 billion in leverage positions. A large part of that is of course retail, and the market makers are not going to put up with that forever. I could also be wrong, we might even see a parabolic run now, and that might only get picked up much later up here. If that's the case, then I'll gradually sell off more of my Bitcoins, and of course, if Ethereum rises, I'll also sell my Ethereum later on. That's why I'm very, very curious to see what will happen today. Because the last time we broke the all-time high, we actually corrected afterwards, and maybe this time it will be different. We can also see that here. All-time high reached, so here it was actually a stronger all-time high. We went a bit over, corrected again, and only then really shot up. Then a new all-time high was reached, corrected sharply again, and now another new all-time high. I don't want to say that it's going to happen again now, because then we'd basically be in this strong consolidation phase up here once more. Maybe this time we'll finally keep moving higher. Of course, I'd be happy for my portfolio if it keeps rising so I can gradually realize more profits. And please, I don't want to hear that I'm bearish. No, I'm absolutely not bearish. I still have my long positions open. I have some open positions here in Ethereum and Crow. We'll also take a look at all the trades. Of course, I also still have my coin margin trades open. And here, Ethereum is about $22,000 to $23,000 in profit. And here again, Bitcoin with $3,500, which is still open. The only thing I'm doing is that I don't want to lose sight of reality, because right now we have very little above, but below an incredible amount of liquidity. And that's my target level, which I actually see us reaching in the near future. If it doesn't happen, then that's just how it is. And that's why I'm not giving any recommendation for you to copy what I'm doing. No, it's all at your own risk. What I'm sharing here is not investment advice. It's really just my own strategy, so I can explain how I approach things and how it's always worked for me personally. If we briefly look at the individual trades now, the target zones might be a bit higher here. The take profit was reached, as I mentioned. Ethereum is really struggling though. Ethereum just doesn't want to break above this high, which is really unfortunate. I hope we'll still get a pump, and then my target level for this current trade, which started down here at $4,970 will be reached, so I can close it as well. Crow is currently very weak, so it can't manage it either. And here as well, it hit the 0.5 and continues to consolidate. Because in this case, if we compare all the altcoins at the moment, with the exception of BNB, but the altcoins are lacking in performance when we compare them to Bitcoin. Accordingly, it's also a bit difficult for me right now to say, okay, we're in an altcoin season at 61. That means actually more than half is in altcoins. Even though the altcoins aren't performing that well at the moment. With Bitcoin, I'm being cautious with the open trades now. We've already moved the stop loss, which was further down here up to break even. Part of the profits has been realized. What I see here now, and I've prepared this for you as well, we have a rising price here with a falling RSI. And that makes things very difficult. Will we keep pumping higher and invalidate this divergence? Or should Bitcoin drop, or maybe the market correct a bit so that this divergence plays out? If that happens, I'll close my positions, which I still have open here in Bitcoin, Link, and Ethereum a bit earlier than planned. But also my futures positions, which I still have open here in Ethereum and in Crow, I would actually close those early as well and wait for new entries. We have something similar with Link. The scenario is the same. It didn't want to move up, corrected nicely, and now had a very nice retest. We covered this in the last video. I think we didn't talk about it with Link, but we saw exactly this breakout with several altcoins. And with various coins, that's still missing for me, that I can say, okay, we're breaking out here now, doing a retest on the breakout, and can then see higher prices. That's exactly a healthy retest that we're seeing here. And that's something I actually still miss with Ethereum at the moment, as you can see here. That would simply be a wonderful retest if we were to correct again, in order to then see higher prices. Of course, I would prefer it if we could overcome exactly this resistance that we have here, which actually results from what we have right now, this last zone here, so this key level that we still haven't managed to break above yet. I'll zoom in a bit here so you can see it even better. This is exactly the level we should break through to the upside. Then I see a small resistance again at 4,774, and after that it can actually continue right up to the candle high, which isn't drawn exactly here. Sorry, I need to go down a bit. Around 4,953. That's where I would also close my fear room position and then look for new entries based on my trading strategy. And for everyone who doesn't know the trading strategy yet, check out my channel. The second best video is coming up soon. It's not far off, just about 200 more views to go. Then it'll be number 2 among all my videos. And in that one, I explain exactly in detail how I proceed and what I'm doing here. I'll try to put out the best possible content for you. Or for you all in this case. And of course, it's a lot more fun when my subs go up, when my views increase, and maybe when you leave a few comments as well. That's motivation. Don't forget to leave a like. That's for my peace of mind. But now let's take a look at the other coins. Other than that, I don't have any more trades open right now. We can take another look at BNB. As I mentioned in the last video, I did an analysis on it. Where is its target zone now? I went through it with you and said from this low to this high, a correction down to here. We can draw that in again as well for a clearer illustration so that we go down and then can move into this target zone here. I discovered it very late, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would have been a really good trade. But here too, just like with Bitcoin right now, you can see this is it. These are not coincidences. Guys, get familiar with these Fibonacci zones. Not just what I mentioned earlier, the simplest trading strategy, but in my playlist, very briefly, learn trading step by step to becoming a pro trader. I also have a video in there where I show you in more detail how to apply these target zones here. And here again, you can see the 1.4 level, which is actually used so rarely. These are not coincidences, so that it finds support again at the current point in time. Even though these target zones down here had already been activated in this area, so right here with this recovery, these target zones up here were activated. And I showed this before, I just can't remember right now. With Bitcoin, it's like this. So let's dive into that as well. It's just so exciting to see, which is why I can simply say 4-hour chart. Take a look at this. We had a rejection here, right on point. We closed the candle right on point here and are now above it. And you might remember from the past that this happens regularly so that we can reach further target zones. And here at the 1.4, 1.4 Fibonacci extension, we find support again and then see even higher prices. Whether all of this will happen, we will see in the near future. Personally, however, I am currently more prepared for a short position. Even if I might be wrong, I am not opening any short positions yet. Why? Because we are entering a rising market here. I don't want to short right now while we're pumping the whole time. And you know this, when do I go short? When we have a scenario like this one. I don't have to go short at the very top. Instead, I wait for a correction downward like this, maybe breaking below our last low, and then I wait for the first possible upward move where I can say, where could we pick up liquidity so that I can then open my short position. Exactly that's the current situation regarding Bitcoin and the other trades. When I open my position, of course, I divide it up again into kilograms. My current preparation is also more long-term oriented because what I'm doing here is simply aiming for my target zone, which is around 107,000 US dollars. And when we get down there, I'll be happy that I was able to lock in good profits, even if maybe more profits would have been possible. But timing the absolute top is going to be very, very, very difficult. So I'm glad that I can gradually push my average selling price higher. Now we're going to go through Ethereum again because Ethereum is very, very interesting. What does this have to do with this part here? Why aren't we talking about it yet? But let's take a look together at the liquidation heat map over the past month. Right here, just above this last high, which we're now also trying to break through, as I just showed, which is exactly this area here, this last one. We can see on the liquidation heat map that just above it, we've built up an incredible amount of new liquidity, short liquidity here. And that's already a lot because we can see here that at 4,648 alone, there is 1.17 billion in short liquidity, 1.25 billion, 1.2 billion. So we have a lot here. Accordingly, I also expect this, and I'm not closing my positions in Ethereum yet because I think we might pick this up here. Unless the short momentum is now so strong and so much short volume comes in that the market really gets pushed down, but I don't think that's the case because this is still a very, very interesting area. Here too, if we look at Ethereum on a 1 week basis, there are now 8 billion US dollars in liquidations down to 4,000 US dollars. But if we go further here, these clusters, down to 4,000 US dollars, it's nearly 11 billion. Guys, this is Ethereum. We have 11 billion. That's not much less than what we currently have with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is the largest asset in the crypto market. But we also must not forget there's still quite a bit up here. So there really is still something there, and it's exactly what I told you, that above us on a weekly basis, we still have about 1.5 to 2 billion lying around. Let's also look at the daily basis because the daily basis is very interesting at this point in time. And you can see how many new short orders are coming in right now. Up to a price of around 4,650 US dollars. This means my positions in Ethereum will not be closed yet, but if we rise above that, I will take part of my swing position off the table. That's the $20,000 I still have open somewhere here. I think it's down here exactly. I'll realize part of it again so that I've actually realized around $19,000 to $20,000, and then we'll see what the price does next. Let's wrap things up now by moving on to the trading bots. You know the short martingale bot, it's always running anyway. I always keep that one going. But if we go further down, I'll open a new $50,000 trading bot again so I can profit a bit more during the correction and avoid entering at the top. If you want to know how these trading bots work, check out the very first video on my channel. 100% passive income on autopilot, it just works so well. I keep saying it, it's simply my game changer for passive income. Then I also have spot grid trading bots, and I'm going to include that one now as well. I have an Ethereum bot here, which is in a positive way outside of my range. My range was up to 4,400 US dollars. But right now we're above that because Ethereum is at 4,500 US dollars. That means I can't take any new profit above that now anyway. Since this trading bot has been running for so long, I don't have the option to expand my parameters here. That only works again with the new grid trading bots like I have here with Rune or Dot. There I could expand my parameters. So I'm going to do that live with you now. That means I'm going to close my grid trading bot now, and these 555 US dollars that I just generated, I'm going to cash that in now and not let it keep running. That's a bit more that I've generated again. Right now, guys, it's just awesome. The trading bots are running, the trades are going, no matter what I open right now. Of course, there were a few stop losses, that's part of it. But overall, this period from the end of September until now, the beginning of October, preparing the individual trades, or maybe it was even mid-September, it was just so awesome that I was really able to take quite a bit of profit here. I'll also take a look at Rune and Doti to see when I'll close those. And that will also be a decision I'll make once I see what Bitcoin does in the near future. What I'm going to do to wrap things up is open new grid trading bots. Not only that, I'm going to close these ones here. That means I think I'll also remove Bitcoin DOT and Ethereum, maybe a bit later, or I'll set a take profit. But now I'm preparing with short grid trading bots on Bitcoin. Again, this is not investment advice. I'm really just doing this because that's how I conduct my analysis. And as you saw, my last short grid trading bot worked out very well, which we opened at $122,000. But now I want to do this with my own account on PIONEX. That's simply an account that I will gradually trade up. I started here with $700. Now it's $1,230, and I want to see how high I can push it. And that's still going to continue. So there will also be a summary video for you showing how much you can earn with trading bots over a certain period without taking on much risk, because for me, all the trading bots I've set up are relatively safe. You can also see in the history that I actually only had profitable trades here. What I still have quite a bit of here are my futures DCA bots, which I explained to you in this video, and they're running in the background. Unfortunately, you can't see them in the web version, only in the mobile app. So now we're going to close the Bitcoin trades here. That means we'll stop it and take our profits out here. As for the Ethereum and Polkadot trading bots, I still need to take a look at those. I need to check how much balance I have left because most of the funds are actually in the futures DCA bots. But how do I analyze this now? How do I proceed at this point? So let's go back to Bitcoin again. And if we don't go parabolic now, which is of course possible, I'll set up a range for my futures script trading bots. Starting with the first one I'll open, from up to 150,000 US dollars down to 100,000 US dollars. But later on, at 128 or rather 130, I'll take a closer look at that, I'll open more positions that will start a bit later. Again, a starting price from the target zones so that I have several trading bots that give me better entries one after another. If one is a bit in the red, maybe another can go a bit into the green. Of course, all of this is in the hope that Bitcoin doesn't just make a move like that and go somewhere else. Of course, that could also happen. But that's why I'm doing this up to 150,000 US dollars. You will be there live in the next videos to see how these trading bots perform, whether they go up or maybe end up in the red. That's why I'm going to start the first one right now. We'll select customize here. Of course, I want to do this for myself. Enter a short position. I know my lower price range. Why am I choosing $100,000? Maybe we'll go even lower. Although I don't think we'll break below $107, $106 or $105,000. But at the top, I'll set it to 150,000 US dollars. That means I have a really large range. Then we have the quantity of grids, which means how much profit percentage I want per grid. And for those who know my videos from the past, I did the big test runs on the funded account at PIONEX, and the best performers were at 0.8 and 0.9%. Anything below that just has so many fees that the profits end up being correspondingly low. What I still always do is use geometric because I want to have a fixed percentage of 0.8%. Now I'll enter 100 grids, but that's way too many. I only have 0.37. That means I have to at least go down to 50 grids. Then I have 0.89. Let's check again. 49, and maybe I'll even do 48. That means 0.82%, perfect for me. And now I have a wonderful price range up to 150,000 US dollars and down to 100,000 US dollars. I'm also not using the auto margin now, but instead I'll use the auto reserve, which I'll turn off here. I'm also going to use a higher leverage here. Let's try a 6.7 times leverage and see what comes out of it. And now, for example, I say I want to open a $100 grid trading bot and my liquidation price would be at $151,000. And if I now just add, for example, $25 more, you can see I'm at $156,000. But that's not a problem if I don't add them right away, because what can I do? I could just leave them out now, and I can always add them later if the trading bot goes that far into the negative that I get liquidated. But for now, I'll still leave the $25 in here, and $100 will be put into the trading bot. I know for many this might sound like very little, but of course I have to keep in mind that the wallet at PIONEX isn't very large, just $1,231. And I don't want to risk all my capital here with a single trading bot, because if we really go much higher, I can always open a new one at $140, $130, or maybe even at $150,000 in order to generate profits there again. This means that risk management here really depends on the account size at PIONEX, on how large my trading bots are and what I put into them. I handle it differently with the DCA future bot because there I know how it works, and so that I don't get stuck in a negative position for a long time, unless of course everything goes against me. That's it for now, so I'll click on start and the first short grid trading bot is open. A lot of people will now ask, okay, why are you going short? We've hit a new all-time high. I want to stick to my strategy with the price range of around 107,000 US dollars, no matter how high we go. In any case, I see us at this price down here in the future. And so the video doesn't get too long. I'll also share it when I open my next short grid trading bot on Telegram. But you already know my next target zones around 128,000 and 130,000 US dollars, where I'll open the next ones. But I won't do that in the video anymore. That's how it works, that's how I'll proceed, and we'll see each other again in the next video. Please leave a few likes, subscribe, and see you next time. Ciao, ciao.